So maybe you have heard that marriage counseling doesn't work. Well, I'm Leslie Dories, your marriage coach, and I'm continuing my series on bad marriage advice. And a lot of people say they've gone to marriage counseling and it didn't work. And that is true for a lot of people. But here's the reason why it doesn't work. On average, couples wait for 6 to 7 years before they reach out for help. Yeah, you heard me right. 6 to 7 years. Now, if you waited that long with a broken leg, would you be surprised that your leg wouldn't be completely repaired? A lot of times people go to marriage counseling as the last resort, not as a place to be proactive about their marriage. And this is why it frequently fails. And there's another reason why it fails, and that's because people don't go long enough. One of my mentors, Bill Doherty, Dr. Bill Doherty out of the University of Minnesota, requires, when he works with people, a 6-month commitment. Because what happens is when couples come in and there have been problems for a while, that's 6 to 7 years I was talking about, those problems didn't show up overnight and they aren't going to go away overnight. And when you're trying to rebuild your relationship, you actually have to get rid of a lot of gunk, right? When my husband and I remodeled our kitchen a few years ago, the kitchen was trashed, right? We took out the ceilings, we took out the walls, we had to unpack everything. We were doing our dishes in the sink, in the bathroom, or in our bar area. It was really unpleasant while we were getting rid of the old stuff. And working on your marriage is exactly the same way. When we start dealing with all the pain that comes up, it gets really uncomfortable and people want to bail. And so I've asked couples when they've come to see me, have you done this before? And they said, yes. And I said, well, really, tell me about it. It's like, well, we went once or twice, maybe 3 times. And it's like, people, that is not going to get you on the right track. You have to commit to undoing the old unproductive behaviors and learning the new behaviors that are going to keep you on track. So you have to commit to it, just like you would commit to losing weight or getting healthy. It takes a while. It's not an overnight thing. And then another and really important reason why marriage counseling doesn't work is because when you're part of a couple, you have a built-in scapegoat. And a lot of times when you're doing this work, your focus is on what your partner is or is not doing. I cannot tell you how many times I've had clients say, well, why do I have to do this when my partner isn't doing it? And my answer to that is, what's the result you want? Do you want to be a good partner? Do you want to have a good marriage? That means you have to do your work and stop focusing solely on what your partner is doing. Yes, your partner is doing some things that are problematic, but if the focus is on them instead of on you and what's within your control, then nothing's going to change. You're going to be doing the same dance because guess what? Your partner is focusing on you and wondering why you're not doing stuff. And my view of things is I tell people every relationship needs a hero. They need somebody who's going to step up when the going gets tough and be the one who's going to dig in and do what needs to be done. And finally, and I love it when I lose my train of thought mid-sentence. The other thing that's critically important about going to any kind of professional is to make sure that you've got a professional that knows what they are doing. Now, any master's level um, psychologist, social worker, marriage and family therapist can see couples, can do marriage work. That does not necessarily mean they're good at it. What you want to do if you are going to go to a marriage professional is to find out how often they work with clients, with couples. If they're not working with, if their majority of their practice is not working with couples, I would be a little bit wary. I would also make sure that you talk to them and find out how they work. Now, there are lots of different, very effective um, ways of approaching this. And, there's emotional focus therapy, there's solution focus therapy, Terry Real's relational therapy. There are lots of trainings that professionals can get that will make them much more able to help you and your partner. And these are the things that you need to check out. But to just say marriage counseling doesn't work is like saying that nobody ever survives cancer. They do, but they have to go through the process. And like cancer, the earlier you get in, the more likely you are to be successful at it. Going in and doing all your checkups to make sure that anything that's wrong with you gets caught is going to make it easier to take care of than if you go in and you got stage 4 cancer, right? And sometimes the process is the same. So before you decide that marriage counseling is not for you, I would consider the 4 things that I talked about today. And if you are interested in learning more, then please get in touch with me, Leslie, at foundationscoachingnc.com. That's FOUNDATIONS, coaching, and as in Nancy, C as in Charlie.com. Put a message down below, DM me, call me, but don't let things fester until you get to the point where a lot of times people will come in and they'll say to the marriage professional, you're the last shot before the attorney, right? And if you're not willing to give it time, then you're not really willing to make your relationship better. So hopefully you found that helpful. And I'd love to know your comments. Please feel free to share this with people that you think could use it. Please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next week, stay loving.